Okay, Rich Van Tassel with you, April 5th, 2016, Tuesday. With weekly NBA report, starting as we always do in the Eastern Conference. Still, the top two teams are the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Toronto Raptors. Cleveland at 55 and 22. Toronto 3.5 games off the pace at 51 and 25. With only 5 games left for the Cavaliers and 6 games left for the Raptors, it looks like those teams are going to stay locked in at 1 and 2, and a 6.5 game lead between Toronto and Atlanta and Boston behind them. So they're not going to get caught from behind, and I see it highly unlikely that Toronto's going to get that spot. So those are going to be the the two top teams. Let's see how much rest is going to be a factor between the two of them. Cleveland certainly has made it clear they want to do so. Toronto has already won the most games in franchise history. So they'll just keep adding to the record. So I think that'll play a role with 6 games left. I think they'll want to try to add more wins to the total, but you never know. Rest is becoming more and more popular each year. Teams 3 through 6, again, it's really tight. Atlanta Hawks and Boston Celtics are 3 and 4 at 45 and 32. The Miami Heat and Charlotte Hornets are a half game back at 44 and 32. So they have a game in hand, Miami and Charlotte. Going to be interesting to see. Again, we talked that the Celtics play all three of those teams. I'd say the Celtics probably have the toughest of the schedule between the four of them. I know Atlanta and Charlotte, I believe, play Toronto. Yeah, Toronto is playing Charlotte tonight. So we talked about Toronto, what they're going to do. So it's going to be a very interesting race to see between those teams 3 through 6. Obviously, home court is on the line. Avoiding Cleveland on the second round is on the line. But those are going to be teams 3 through 6. And any order they fall in, either one of those teams can beat each other. It's going to set up for a nice first round series, two first round series in the Eastern Conference. 7 and 8, Indiana Pacers, Detroit Pistons, both tied at 41 and 36. 3.5 games back behind Charlotte and Miami to get out of those two spots, so they are almost certainly going to be in there. Those are the only spots that have not been claimed yet, or the only two teams that have not clinched, because 3 through 6 obviously haven't been claimed, but all the way up to 6 have clinched the playoff spot. The Chicago Bulls at 39 and 38 are 2 games off the pace. Washington Wizards 37 and 40, 4 games back. Everyone else is eliminated. Washington is really going to struggle to make it. I don't think they're going to do so. 4 games back, and they only play 5 more games the rest of the season. 2 more wins by Indiana and Detroit, or 1 win and 1 loss by Washington, or 2 losses by Washington, which is certainly possible, is going to eliminate the Wizards. So, a very disappointing year for the Wizards, and we discussed that last Friday. Orlando at 33 and 34, Milwaukee 32 and 45, another disappointing team. The Knicks at 31 and 47. I'd like to see if the Knicks can get to 34 wins. That would mean they double up their win total from last year. That's certainly something you have to be pleased to see, that sort of progression. Unless you're going to win, 10 or 9 games like the 76ers are this year, to double up your win total, even at 17 from last year, which is pretty terrible. You're certainly making progress. Orlando also climbing the ladder. Milwaukee, they are a team that I expected a lot more of, so they shouldn't be happy with themselves. Brooklyn Nets 21 and 56, Philadelphia 76ers 9 and 68. Nets have lost 5 straight games. I would say they're almost certainly going to lose 60 this year. Let's see if the Philadelphia 76ers can get to 10 wins. They only have 5 games left, so they can certainly lose out, and they would tie themselves for the worst record in an 82-game season at 9 and 73. In the Western Conference, Golden State still on top at 69 and 8. They responded from that loss to the Celtics on Friday by winning Sunday over the Trailblazers. 4-1 finish will give them the record. I expect that to happen. Frankly, I expect they might not lose a game the rest of the way. San Antonio 64 and 12, still on a 3-game winning streak and 8 and 2 in the last 10, despite the fact that they're resting most of their starters. They play the Golden State Warriors twice, once in Golden State, once at home. Let's see if they are able to win out at home. They have 2 more left. If they do that, they will finish 41 and 0 at home. Golden State obviously cannot break that record of 41 set by the Boston Celtics because of the loss to the Celtics at home. So the best they can finish is 41 at home. Oklahoma City 53 and 24. They're 8 and 2 in the last 10. They lost their last game. Los Angeles Clippers with Blake Griffin back. They're now 66 and 4 in their last 10. They are going to be the 4 seed barring anything incredible. They would essentially have to win out, and Oklahoma City would have to lose out for them to climb up to third. And frankly, they may want to stay in fourth. They may not, because the Grizzlies, who I thought were going to be able to stay in the fifth spot, that is, injury plague. They have lost 6 straight. Mike Conley's now done for the season. They're going to be absolutely no threat in the playoffs, and it's a real shame with all the injuries to this team. They only now have a half game lead over the Trailblazers, who are 41 and 37, playing very well. Lost obviously to the Golden State Warriors, but they are 6 and 4 in the last 10. The Dallas Mavericks in the seventh spot, 5 and 5 in the last 10, winners of 4 straight. However, give them credit. I thought they were in free fall and they weren't going to be able to respond. I had picked them to not make the playoffs between those 3 teams. They've been able to come along though. Let's see what they will do the rest of the way. The Utah Jazz at 39 and 38, so Mavericks and Jazz tied up 7th and 8th, that is. The Houston Rockets a game back at 38 and 39. Rockets got a big win over the Oklahoma City Thunder on Thursday, but it's not too little too late, but it's certainly too late in the year for this team to finally start showing the consistency that has been the lack of consistency, which has been killing them all season long. Denver Nuggets 32 and 46, improved season, but still gonna probably lose 48 games. Not terrible. You don't like to be 14 games under 500, but you win 33, 34, 35 games. You've certainly given a professional effort in the season. Sacramento Kings, a team I picked to make the playoffs. Can't be happy. They're 31 and 46, 5 and 5 in the last 10. Let's see what happens with them in the offseason. If DeMarcus Cousins gets traded, what happens with Rajon Rondo? New Orleans Pelicans, who have been injury plagued, they're 29 and 47. Can they avoid 50 losses? Minnesota Timberwolves on a 3-game losing streak, 4 and 6 in the last 10. Now 25 and 52 is bad. I'd expect them to be somewhere around 26 and 56. But when you won 16 games last year, you'll take the 10-game improvement. Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns are certainly a building block. I was expecting a little more than Minnesota. I figured they could avoid 50 losses and be in the area of the Denver Nuggets. Sacramento Kings, they're going to finish. Phoenix Suns 20 and 57, losers of 6 straight. And the Los Angeles Lakers 16 and 60. Obviously, Philadelphia has clinched the worst record. We'll see what happens with Brooklyn and Phoenix for the draft positioning. And of course, the Brooklyn Nets don't even own their draft pick. It is held by the Boston Celtics. So we'll see where those 2 teams, because it looks like Philadelphia is going to be 1 in that regard, and Los Angeles is going to be 2. And looking at it again here, I wouldn't even be surprised if the Memphis Grizzlies miss the playoffs. They may not win another game the rest of this year. And Houston can still get the 43 wins. So it's unlikely, but hey, this team is really in a bad way. And of course, Mike Conley has now been shut down for the season. Alright, so that is it for your Tuesday, April 5th, 2016 weekly NBA report. I'm not really sure exactly what day the season ends. We will probably be doing one next Tuesday as well, wrapping things up. And then we will be moving on from there, giving playoff predictions and all that. Gonna see how I want to play this coming down the stretch, how I want to do these videos, but that'll be it. Any flash news alerts from here on out, we will bring those to you. And be sure to subscribe if you're an NBA fan, if you're a sports fan of anything. Leave comments if there's certain videos you would like me to do. I will do what I can, and we'll move from there, folks. But thank you all for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week, and enjoy the rest of your day as well. Okay, Rich Van Tassel with you, April 5th, 2016, Tuesday. Weekly NBA report, starting as we always do in the Eastern Conference. Still, the top 2 teams are the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Toronto Raptors. Cleveland at 55 and 22. Toronto 3.5 games off the pace at 51 and 25. With only 5 games left for the Cavaliers and 6 games left for the Raptors, it looks like those teams are going to stay locked in at 1 and 2, and the 6.5 game lead between Toronto and Atlanta and Boston behind them. So they're not going to get caught from behind. And I see it highly unlikely that Toronto's going to get that spot. So those are going to be the two top teams. Let's see how much rest is